Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons who were recently featured on the Rosehill show here with me today. First is Joycelyn Wong. Joycelyn, how are you today?
I am fine, thank you. And yourself?
I am great. And what do you think about this Rosehill show?
Well, I think the Rosehill show is a unique tool for evangelism. That's how I see the Rosehill show. In addition to being able to talk about your businesses, give your testimony, I do believe it's a unique tool of evangelism.
Nice. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience. I was able to speak about some of the services that I offer.
Some?
And yes, some of them, because there are more. So to speak about more would have taken up the whole show. So, but I did have a good experience. I was able to, like I said, I was able to speak about some of these services, and that was a good opportunity to do so.
Nice. So this is Joycelyn Wong, and she was one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Joycelyn, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Unconventional.
Unconventional.
This is Apostle Leroy Scanterbury, and I want to say what a pleasure it was to be here on the Rosehill show with my good friend Apostle David Coulthrust and the Rosehill team. And I want you to know to call that number that's on the screen and let them know you're interested in being on the Rosehill show. It's the place to be if you want to reach your target audience and if you want to take your life, your business to the next level. This is Apostle
Roger Husbands. I want to say that the Rosehill show is the bomb. I mean, I've enjoyed myself being on the show. It's real life, real talk. I felt like to be myself on this show. I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to this page and ensure that you watch the Rosehill show because you will learn a lot of things that you never thought of. Hi, my name is Roger Husbands.
So P. Austin, the United Progressive Party's St. James South candidate. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of the Rosehill Talks Politics show. I believe that as more and more of our local influencers, practitioners in politics and other sections of society participate in the show, that it will grow from strength to strength. I want to endorse the show and encourage other persons to tune in and share the links.
Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons here with me who have recently been featured on the Rosehill show. Antonio, step on in. I have here Antonio Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great. What do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the Rosehill show is a very good avenue for people to display their businesses. For example, if you are a hairdresser, it's a good avenue to have a voice and show people what you can do.
Yes, yes. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience where I was able to display my entrepreneurship skills via my stepping stones, lawn maintenance, and giving people a voice on how to take care and maintain their property.
Nice. And there we have Antonia Williams, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Antonia, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
One word is limited, but I would say that the show is explosive.
Explosive. Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons here with me who were recently featured on the Rosehill show. And I have Kailashi Kai come on in. How are you doing, Kai?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am great. And what do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the show was really, really great when it was on it. I think it's serving its purpose of, giving those persons that don't have a voice,
Yes.
a voice, right?
Yes.
Being on that show, it was great, man.
And how was your experience then, other than great?
It was exciting, right? It was exciting. Just being in that environment, especially as an entrepreneur, in an interview, it brings things, to life. It was real. I love that for sure, right? And I think it's going to really impact networking people as well.
and there you have Kai Lashley, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Kai, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
One word. I would say impactful.
Nice. Impactful. Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster and I have just a few persons here with me who have recently been featured on the Rosehill show. Antonia, step on in. I have here Antonia Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great. And what do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the Rosehill show is a very good avenue for people to display their businesses. For example, if you are a hairdresser, it's a good avenue to have a voice and show people what you can do.
Yes, yes. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience where I was able to display my entrepreneurship skills
Nice.
via my stepping stones, lawn maintenance, and giving people a voice on how to take care and maintain their property.
Nice, and there we have Antonia Williams, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Antonia, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Now, one word is limited, but I would say that the show is explosive.
Explosive. Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster and I have just a few persons who were recently featured on the Rosehill show here with me today. First is Joycelyn Wong. Joycelyn, how are you today?
I am fine, thank you. And yourself?
I am great. And what do you think about this Rosehill show?
Well, I think the Rosehill show is a unique tool for evangelism. That's how I see the Rosehill show. In addition to being able to talk about your businesses, give your testimony, I do believe it's a unique tool of evangelism.
Nice. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience. I was able to speak about some of the services that I offer.
Some.
And yes, some of them, because there are more. So to speak about more would have taken up the whole show. So, but I did have a good experience. I was able to, like I said, I was able to speak about some of these services, and that was a good opportunity to do so.
Nice. So this is Joycelyn Wong, and she was one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Joycelyn, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Unconventional.
Unconventional.
Say that the Rosehill show is the bomb. I mean, I've enjoyed myself being on the show. It's real life, real talk. I felt like to be myself on this show. I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to this page and ensure that you watch the Rosehill show because you will learn a lot of things that you never thought of. Hi, my name is Roger.
Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster and I have just a few persons here with me who have recently been featured on the Rosehill show. Antonia, step on in. I have here Antonia Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great. And what do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the Rosehill show is a very good avenue for people to display their businesses. For example, if you are a hairdresser, it's a good avenue to have a voice and show people what you can do.
Yes, yes. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience where I was able to display my entrepreneurship skills
Nice.
via my stepping stones, lawn maintenance, and giving people a voice on how to take care and maintain their property.
Nice. And there we have Antonia Williams, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Antonia, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Now, one word is limited, but I would say that the show is explosive.
Explosive.
So, P. Austin, the United Progressive Party's St. James South candidate. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of the Rosehill Talks Politics show. I believe that as more and more of our local influencers, practitioners in politics and other sections of society participate in the show, that it will grow from strength to strength. I want to endorse the show and encourage other persons to tune in and share the links.
Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons who were recently featured on the Rosehill show here with me today. First is Joycelyn Wong. Joycelyn, how are you today?
I am fine, thank you, and yourself?
I am great. And what do you think about this Rosehill show?
Well, I think the Rosehill show is a unique tool for evangelism. That's how I see the Rosehill show. In addition to being able to talk about your businesses, give your testimony, I do believe it's a unique tool of evangelism.
Nice. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience. I was able to speak about some of the services that I offer.
Some?
And yes, some of them, because there are more. So to speak about more would have taken up the whole show. So, but I did have a good experience. I was able to, like I said, I was able to speak about some of these services, and that was a good opportunity to do so.
Nice. So this is Joycelyn Wong, and she was one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Joycelyn, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Unconventional.
Unconventional.
Canterbury, and I want to say what a pleasure it was to be here on the Rosehill show with my good friend Apostle David Coulthrust and the Rosehill team. And I want you to know to call that number that's on the screen and let them know you're interested in being on the Rosehill show. It's the place to be if you want to reach your target audience and if you want to take your life, your business to the next level.
James South candidate. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of the Rosehill Talks Politics show. I believe that as more and more of our local influencers, practitioners in politics and other sections of society participate in the show, that it will grow from strength to strength. I want to endorse the show and encourage other persons to tune in and share the links.
Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons here with me who have recently been featured on the Rosehill show. Antonio, step on in. I have here Antonio Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great. And what do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the Rosehill show is a very good avenue for people to display their businesses. For example, if you are a hairdresser, it's a good avenue to have a voice and show people what you can do.
Yes, yes. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience where I was able to display my entrepreneurship skills via my stepping stones, lawn maintenance, and giving people a voice on how to take care and maintain their property.
Nice. And there we have Antonia Williams, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Antonia, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Now, one word is limited, but I would say that the show is explosive.
Explosive.
Once again, it's me, David Coulthrust, your host here at Rosehill Talks Politics, and this evening we're going to be chatting with three men in the society. We are really kind of taking a bit of a diversion here to the regular political discussions that we are having, but this is also, you know, politics covers a lot of things. Politics is all about life, and I wanted to really get a sense as to what is impacting the men in our society. What are they going through? How are they dealing with the issues that men are facing? You know, maybe how are they dealing with this economic climate? What are they doing to get through in life? People normally say that they're the providers. How is that working? We're going to be asking some questions like, what's the role of the male in the society? What is the role of the male in the family? You know, should that role be redefined? We're going to be talking those, you know, those type of things. We're going to be asking the contentious issue. Can a woman really raise a man? There are some people that think that women cannot raise men. Can a woman really raise a man? So we're going to be talking about that this evening. We realize that there's a lot of violence in the country. Men are predominantly involved. And this has been something historical. Men seem to be predominantly involved in aggressive behavior. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And we are seeing an increasing amount of aggression in our schools and involving males as well. What can be done to just change this trend? Has this been something that's been going on forever? What can we do right now? So all of these are things that we need to get a hold of, grasp, and when we come right back, we'll be dealing with all of these issues. So I want you to just share the post, connect with some folks, share them, tell them Rosehill Talks Politics is on, and you don't want to miss this. We're going to be talking to these guys this evening who are just in society, on the ground, dealing with many issues. So stay tuned. We are going to be right back with Rosehill Talks Politics.
I want to say that the Rosehill show is the bomb. I've enjoyed myself being on the show. It's real life, real talk. I felt like to be myself on this show. I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to this page and ensure that you watch the Rosehill show, because you will learn a lot of things that you never thought of. Hi, my name is Roger.
The United Progressive Party's St. James South candidate. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of the Rosehill Talks Politics show. I believe that as more and more of our local influencers, practitioners in politics and other sections of society participate in the show, that it will grow from strength to strength. I want to endorse the show and encourage other persons to tune in and share the links.
Good afternoon, my name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons here with me who have recently been featured on the Rosehill show. Antonia, step on in. I have here Antonia Williams. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I am great. What do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the Rosehill show is a very good avenue for people to display their businesses. For example, if you are a hairdresser, it's a good avenue to have a voice and show people what you can do.
Yes. And how was your experience on the show?
I had a great experience where I was able to display my entrepreneurship skills, via my stepping stones, lawn maintenance, and giving people a voice on how to take care and maintain their property.
Nice, and there we have Antonia Williams, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Antonia, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
Now, one word is limited, but I would say that the show is explosive.
Explosive.
Well, welcome back to Rosehill Talks Politics. And as I said before, we're going to be dealing with some main issues, and we're going to be covering a range of topics. For those of you who are now joining us, please share the video. Make sure that individuals, this is going to be a very informative discussion this evening as we cover as many areas as possible and talk to these men who are, really dealing with, on the ground with many issues. They're seeing many issues that men are going through. So I want you to share this with your friends. Very often, we do not get to the root of this matter in this kind of forum. So some of the questions that we're going to be asking are, what is the role of the male in society? What is the role of the male in the family? Should that role be redefined? Many people are challenging that role. Should the man be the head or perceived as being the head of the family? Can a woman raise a man? We know that there are many single parent homes, but can a woman really raise a man? And what are some of the issues facing men psychologically, emotionally, and physically? And how can these issues be dealt with? And any other question that really comes up. One of the things I want to say to you is that please really feel free to, connect with us. Ask your questions on Facebook, on our Facebook page. We are willing to answer those questions. I will forward, as I see those questions come up on my screen right here, I will forward them to those who are sitting, who have joined us here this evening. And if you have a question for a specific person, a guest, please type that in by name so that we can forward that to the guest and we can have a very informative program this evening. So once again, we're going to be joined with these men. I'll introduce them when we come right back. Share the video, share the video, share the show, share the show, share the show. We'll be right back to talk to these fantastic men. See you soon.
Good afternoon. My name is Chantal Brewster, and I have just a few persons here with me who were recently featured on the Rosehill show. And I have Kailashi. Kai, come on in. How are you doing, Kai?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am great. And what do you think about the Rosehill show?
I think the show was actually really, really great when it was on it. I think it's serving its purpose of, giving those persons that don't have a voice,
Yes.
a voice, right?
Yes.
Being on that show, it was great, man.
And how was your experience then, other than great?
It was exciting, right? It was exciting. Just being in that environment, especially as an entrepreneur, in an interview, it brings things, to life. It was real. I love that for sure, right? And I think it's going to really impact network individuals as well.
And there you have Kai Lashi, one of our featured guests on the Rosehill show. And Kai, if you could describe the show in one word, what would it be?
One word. I would say impactful.
Nice. Impactful.
Okay, we are right back with these three men who have volunteered to be on our show this evening. Welcome, guys. How are you doing?
I'm pretty fine.
It's pretty unusual weather that we are having. You don't normally have all of this. I said to some person today, I don't know who's speaking to the rain. The rain is just falling. At one point in time, you get up and it's good, and then the rain just decides, and it's always happening around the middle of the day. I don't know what's going on, right? And then the nights are so cold. Last night, I swore I was in England. How is it done with you guys? You guys are cold as well?
Relatively a little drop in the temperature, that is obvious.
Where do you live, Cassius?
I am actually in the Beckles Road, Bay Street area.
Well, it is. No, it doesn't get cold. If you go up in the countryside, St. John's, St. Lucie, it's like the Arctic up there.
I guess if you go close to Boscobel and areas like Black Bess and St. Peter.
Yes.
Yes, it is really Borden and St. Andrew.
Yes.
It's cold in those areas.
Very cold. I was listening to a moderator say that you can actually get some fog up there sometimes depending on where they are. Yeah.
You do.
Okay. How about you, Everton? Are you having cold nights?
I live in Grisettes. Nights are pretty cold. I have to wrap up the extra stuff.
Extra stuff.
Me and my daughter and my woman, you all have to cuddle together.
You got to cuddle.
Yeah,
Some
buddy.
cold nights are good sometimes.
It's true, but the temperature keeps us alive though.
How old is your daughter?
She's 4.
She's 4. Yeah. 4 going on 14. Because these children,
they born really fast.
Yeah,
trust me.
correct.
They're really, really fast.
And Krisnan, how is it by you?
When I wake up in the morning, I feel it. But I get to start my day pretty late, so I can, work my way up.
How late do you start your day?
I can wake up I can be up for 8 o'clock. I don't need to be up by 6, which I'm accustomed to going to school. Mm-hmm. So 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I'm starting my day.
When we grow up, we want to be like you. Well, I just want to introduce the gentleman to the viewers. And as I said, you feel free to just ask whatever questions you need to ask. And we'll ask the guest here. Cassius Taitt, age 54. It's a good age. You have your status. You want me to say that? That's fine. He's thinking.
Not worried.
He sent it in, didn't he?
Whatever you find is relevant.
Well, I like that. I like that answer. The profession, civil engineer, contractor. How's the profession going?
It's going slowly, but it's going. Actually,
things have slowed down a lot in Brathwaithe, haven't they?
Things, I wouldn't say it has slowed down. It was slow. It's actually picking up now.
Really?
For me, I can say it's picking up. I don't know about other people, but for me,
what does a civil engineer contractor do?
You build, but some people just build. I advise people a lot on decisions that they should make in regards to the building. Mm-hmm. I call it like holding your hand and guiding you through a process.
Right.
Right. So if you have a project, for example, that is costed a particular amount, and then you say, well, this is outside my cost, I didn't budget for this. I can actually look at your job and guide you in ways that you can reduce the cost to still get what you desire.
I'm sure that one of these days we'll have you back on the program to talk about the possibility of implementing a building code in Barbados.
Well, that's a long subject, really.
Yes, we'll have you back. We'll have you back to give people some advice. Twice married with 2 children, 1 grandchild. How are the children?
They're all well as well as they can be, I guess. Children today, people say they're different. I don't think children today are different. I think that parenting today is different.
Okay.
So, children are more exposed to things more than we were, and parents today are a lot more tolerant than our parents were.
Fair enough.
Right, so
that's true. Was a former soldier of the BDF, an officer of the United Nations Security Council, professional correctional officer, hotel manager, journalist, FIFA qualified soccer coach, and former national footballer and basketballer. What position did you play on the football field?
I played sweeper, actually.
Sweeper?
Yes.
Wow.
But I was a goal scoring sweeper.
How do you get a goal scorer sweeper?
Because people believe that defenders defend, attacking players attack. I learned quite early in sports that once your team is in possession of the ball, you have 10 attacking players.
You're a Brazilian, you should not be Beijing.
And when you don't have the ball, you have 10 defensive players. So
everyone is going forward.
Yes, total football.
Everyone going forward, everyone coming back.
That's right.
Brazilian style.
You call it total football.
Were you good at football?
Yes.
Good. I love your confidence.
No, most Barbadians who knew me as a player would say that I was a good player, yes.
Good stuff, good stuff. Everton.
Yeah.
Everton is 28 years of age, and you know, your profile, your bio is really a bold testament. Because there are not many people that will say what is on here and give us permission to say. You're currently in the drug rehabilitation program at the psychiatric hospital. You have 1 daughter, we talked about that. You've been in prison 7 times for theft and drug-related incidences. Work experiences as a speedboat operator and a baker. Are you a good baker?
Well, I can tell you that once you take my bread and you taste my bread, you always want to come back. That's one thing I can say.
Look out, Nichols. What's your favorite recipe?
My favorite recipe? Sweet bread and porn.
Sweet bread and porn?
Yeah. Those things I do to perfection.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, that sounds good. Any other expertise in the kitchen?
Well, I can cook. I can do everything in the household. I was raised by my grandmother.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know I'm a properly raised boy.
That's what I'm talking about. You're looking to remodel your life, enthusiastic, easygoing, likes to speak about his experience in order to assist others. We'll be talking about that today. Krisnan, my friend, it's good to see you. Krisnan,
Same here.
Krisnan is an Anthony Robbins trained life. What is that? Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I did some training with Anthony Robbins in the U.S. from the U.S.
Right.
So Anthony Robbins and Chloe Medanis, who is a well-known psychotherapist. Mm-hmm. But I did life coach training with him. Most online, but then I also went for some time as well. Yeah.
Good stuff. Trained life coach and board certified clinical hypnotherapist. He is also being trained in leadership and business development with Franklin Covey International. That's a very powerful institute to go to. The publisher of Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How's business going, sir?
At this point, people are curious, but they don't want to spend money.
Curious but cheap.
They don't want to spend money.
Krisnan is an associate consultant with Potter Center, a locally based network of consultants and trainers under the leadership of Tony Holton. Good person. With his business insight consulting, Krisnan does one-on-one and corporate consulting. And I want to. How can we contact you so that they can put it up on the screen?
Yeah, most definitely. In Facebook page, Insight Consulting Barbados.
Insight Consulting. Do you have a telephone number?
247.
Okay, guys, get this. 247
6899.
6899, and I'm going to come back to you for your telephone number so that if anybody wants to connect with you guys, and your telephone number as well if anybody wants to connect you to get some good porn.
That's not a problem.
Good. Talk to me. I like it. All right. So we're going to be talking a bit. Let me get those telephone numbers from you, Mr. Cassius. If you want to get our house built properly, how do we get in contact with you?
546
546
0301
546 0301.
265
265
20
20
28. My email address is greenpoint.
Greenpoint, as in the color. Greenpoint.
123 @hotmail.com.
Greenpoint123 Those things will come up on the screen. And what about you, Everton? How do we get in contact with you if you want some pony sweet bread?
My cell phone number is 238 4820.
4820. 238 4820 if you want to get some good sweet bread and
Or you
some
can
pork.
get me at my email address.
Email address,
Zariah Moore.
Oh, you have to spell that.
ZARYAH.
ZARYAH,
MOORE.
MOORE.
8@gmail.com.
8
Yeah.
at
Number
gmail.com.
8@gmail.com.
Got you. Okay, guys, let's jump right into it so we can maximize our time. I did ask a question earlier. Just want us to be into that. What do you see as, and you can feel free to answer me. Just want to talk back and forth. What do you see as the role of the male in society? And any one of you can jump into that.
As a youngster, I'm 28, freshly into raising a family.
Right.
I've been brought up in a family where males were the number one priority and the number one goers in the family. The ones who really put their foot down and get things done within the society. Keep the family together, hold the society firm, and build empires. Because a male is a person that instills structure within any society, any business, anywhere. And as a young male, I infrastruct, that structure within my family. Because I have a young daughter, she's a bit ambitious like me when I was young. As I heard my colleague here said beside me, there are different children of today. And it's different to parent a child than how we were parented.
Okay, good. Well, guys, let's talk. What do you see as the role of men in society today, Cassius?
Men today need to be leaders.
Okay.
We need to be leaders. And in some cases, all men do not produce what leaders produce. And we must first face that as men. Unfortunately, the men who has the capacity to lead are not allowed to lead. There's a lot of fighting against leadership. Now, however, men need to be consistent. You know what you're about, you stick to it. We need to lead by example, though.
Right.
A lot of us men today, we say one thing and we do something different. So a lot of us practice the do as I say and not as I do situation. And I believe that's where we get a lot of challenges. You need to preach and practice the same. If we can do that, a lot of the challenges we face today, over a short period of time, we can actually have the restoration that we need to have. The challenges men face today didn't start overnight. We actually dropped the ball decades ago.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, yes.
Decades ago.
Decades ago, men dropped the ball. In this country I'm talking about. But today is affecting young men today. Young men who mean well. Because the effects, things that took place 3-4 decades ago in this country. A lot of females became defensive. A lot of the behavior of females today is based on a defensive mechanism that in many cases they've been forced to put up. Unless we can come to common ground now and realize, well, okay, right, a lot of the females today behave according to what they grew up seeing, that their mums and their grandmothers and their aunts, the challenges that they faced with men back then. They determined that is not going to happen to them. And in so doing, men are at risk because a lot of men who mean well are suffering because of those walls that are up.
I mean, these are some very strong statements. I want to ask Krisnan to weigh in on this topic, and then I want to provoke some discussion based on these things that you're talking about. Talk to me, Krisnan.
I think society has recognized that men are leaders. It's a matter of men taking the responsibility. Females still look to males. Men are stronger, they are faster, and they're still considered as providers, right? So women still look to men for provision and security. However, they have had to take up the ball. They've had to assume leadership because leadership was weak. And that's why roles have changed, if you want to put it that way. But men have always and still are seen as providers, protectors, and of course there are only two genders, male and female. But men still have a great deal of responsibility.
The LGBT community is about to, go haywire because they're saying that they're now I don't know, there are about 9 genders or so that are listed.
Well, I do hypnotherapy. I'm a hypnotherapist.
Right.
And when you're looking at science, particularly energy science, and everything in life, we talk positive and negative, or we talk left and right, or we talk male and female. And even with what we call alternative lifestyles today, there is always a leader, one of the individuals assuming the male or the stronger role, and there's the one who is quote unquote you won't like to say it, but the weaker or the follower or the not lesser but the weaker role, and there's always going to be that relationship going on, that interaction of the leader, the follower, the leader, the one who is assisting, so to speak.
Is this something natural, or is it that this is how society has socialized men? And if it's something that's socialized, then can it be unsocialized, that men have to take up this dominant role?
There is nature and nurture. So yes, we've been socialized. The changes in society has been socialized. Females have been taught certain things. Children are taught certain things from the media, from the environment they grow up in. So much of it is to do with socialization, but there are some things that you can't get away from naturally. It's part of nature, it's built in. And
how does that relate to this situation in relation to the role of men in society? And I want to bring Cassius in here because he's the person that talks about men are at risk and etc. Those strong statements. So,
yes.
Is it nature that has made man the dominant species in societies, or is it nurture?
I tend to lean towards nature.
Okay.
But what has happened is that, yes, and Tristan did indicate that, still men are seen as providers and a source of security and a source of strength as well. In some cases though, a lot of men are seen as providers, yes, but providers of what? So you'll find that some females see the male as a provider of strength and stability, and others may see the man as a provider of income or finance and security. Now, when we look at stability in the home, you need a leader in the home for home to be stable. Some females in a single parent environment, or some males in a single parent environment, provide stability as a single parent. And I find that in some cases that work because, for example, where you have two parents, you may have two different opinions. Where there's one parent, there's only one rule.
Okay, so if you have male and female in the house, right? Mm-hmm. Who should be the leader?
I would say the male.
You would say the male?
Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Because the male, he stands a more dominant role. As we say, males are generally leaders.
And what should that leadership look like?
That should be portraying the example of how to really run the structure of a house, how to keep the stability. If you're finding yourself in a problem, like financial problem, as Cassius here, some ladies look to the males for financial support. Then there's some females that are independent, but they still need that leadership from a male. They need that stability in terms of...
What happens when you have a situation where there is a woman who, in every sense of the word, is above and beyond the abilities of the man.
Well,
Then how do you reconcile that? Her earning capacity, her intellectual capacity, her ability to deal with the issues in the house, her ability to set vision, because we do have those disparity in relationships going both ways, right? Is the man still the leader, and how do you see that working out?
Well, the man will have to make sure he stands his ground and let the lady see and let the woman see that he's still the leader in the house, despite the financial income from the lady or the intellectual ability above the man.
Krisnan, I want to ask you, how does this standing the ground would look like inside the house?
Okay, so there's this concept of polarization or polarity,
right?
Where there is the what we call male energy and female energy. So women, there are certain things about women. They're usually seen as more soft or emotional, as we call it, and they are looking for provision and security, etc. And sometimes the roles can change, or sometimes the rules can change. The man might not be that firm, might not be that assertive, and the woman might take on that. But there's still a need and a connection that still needs to stand between the two of them. So the man may play a second role or support role, in which case the woman has played the male's role, or what the man would traditionally be thought to play. So what would happen in that case? They would exchange roles. He still needs to know himself, and she will obviously need to know herself as well and know what they're bringing to the table, because both of them can't be weak and both of them can't be strong. So in that case, there's an exchange of rules.
Explain, what do you mean that both of them can't be strong?
You've probably heard the saying that there can't be two bulls in a China shop, something like that.
Two bulls in a pen.
But they're not bulls.
Where you find two strong,
I know.
not just personalities, opinions and desire to lead, there will always be conflict.
So you think in order for a home to have any successful relationships over the long term, there must be a strong person and a weak person?
There must be the one who takes initiative and takes things forward, or who asserts themselves, and the other one who supports. And in different situations, the roles might change. But there is the need for that working together, as opposed to both persons saying, I want it this way, and that way being separate ways. So that's where it comes in.
Do you think that it is the role of the man to take the initiative most of the time?
And push forward?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It depends, but we know from even not just in recent history, but centuries ago, that females have been supporting, and even though they may not have been quote unquote the head figure, they were the ones who were giving the ideas and the suggestions, and even sometimes taking the initiative, in which case they would push the man forward to make the decisions.
But while that's the case, historically, for those who have your questions that you're viewing, please ask your questions. Barbados has been traditionally a matrifocal society. The women have really been the head of the household and raising the children. But that's historically Barbados.
Well, these days I've seen it change dramatically.
The single parent family does not mean that the man is the head of the house.
We've had in Barbados as well single parent families with homes headed by men.
Yeah,
by men who raise children.
But that's a rarity, and you know this.
But,
that's not the norm. That's the exception. So generally,
while I agree with you that situation was in the minority,
right?
What we have is a situation where women have spoken out about being single parents.
And they should have.
And they have a right to. It is about time that men who were single parents speak out as well.
Well,
I know of quite a few situations of males who raise children on their own.
And I fully agree. But the point I'm making is that in the case of a single parent, right? women have demonstrated over the years that they are very competent at raising families.
I agree with that. But here lately, in this era, men have stepped up. They have stepped up to the plate.
In what way?
They've taken the incentive in taking the pressure off of the women. Because as Cassius said, they have spoken about it, spoke up about it. So men have stepped up and shown that they can also raise children within the home as a single parent.
So in your experience, you're seeing more men taking more responsibility, more family responsibility. Is that your experience?
Yeah. And I'm a prime example of it. Because I've had my ups and downs. I've been in and out of prison. But from the time I got myself back into society, I've seen more men these days carrying their children, dealing with their children, and it warms my heart as a young parent and as a male.
I wanna ask you, when I saw your profile, and I know you had something to say, so I don't want to rob you of that.
That's fine.
Right? When I saw your profile and your age, 28 years of age, if you're going too personal, please.
That's not a problem.
Right.
That's not a problem.
So you would have been, had you encountered with your drug issues?
Yeah.
How long is that? You're 28 years of age. How long was that?
Well, this
was
all
that challenge
started when I
going?
was 23.
23 years of age.
I was young, I was experimental. I used to do my little hustling on the block because I grew up in a setting in the ghetto. As quote unquote the ghetto.
Right.
So I wasn't working at the time, and I found it easier to get money by selling drugs. And that was one of the worst mistakes in my life because it took me down a path where I ended up getting beat, robbed, shot, stabbed, chopped, etc. And I started using harder drugs after I started to make so much money that I had money at my leisure. I can do what I feel like. I thought I was invincible, but nothing can touch me now.
I want you to tell us a bit about the culture amongst the men. I don't want to say on the block because I don't think that is the only place that drugs happen to be, right? But for the sake of this discussion, let's use that as a term that encompasses any person that is in that kind of culture.
Okay.
So what is going on with the men? What are you saying going on with the men in that kind of culture? What do you think is going through their head?
Well, most of them, it's either they're dealing with some sort of lost feeling, a void that needed to be filled, and they cling to each other within a setting, using mind-altering substances, and then forming discussions about things, trying to get a bit more enthusiastic about life, trying to get forward while no one is listening to them, They're trying to push themselves up within a different setting. Because most of the time, my days of being in the culture are just different places. I was on the beach, I worked in a hotel, I worked various places, I worked in a restaurant, men tend to just try to isolate themselves when they're using substances and drugs and things like that.
You said there's a void. What are you talking about? Because I want to bring the other two guys here after you answer that question to talk about how can we possibly deal with that void. Because if there's a void that you've identified from your experience, and as I said, we'll talk a bit more about that. But if there's a void you've identified, I want to hear how we can deal with that. What is this void that you're seeing?
Well, it depends on how you was raised. As we're here dealing with how men bring up children in society as a single parent. My dad died when I was pretty young.
Right.
Right, and that had an impact on me. My grandmother had to then take the role to raise me. So I was missing that stability in the home where I had somebody to look up to. So then I turned to drugs, smoking marijuana, skipping school, and it started to get aggressive, and it escalated. And the void that was filled there, I was missing a sense of love, a sense of caring. And the drug gave me that for a period of time. But then it eventually has to stop at some point because
I want to bring the other two guys here. Do you think that this is a part of the challenge? Why men are on the block? We talk about on the block, behaving the way that they're behaving. Well, maybe in wider society as well, that there's a void, a lack of love, maybe father figures. Or do you think that that's the case?
It's interesting listening to Krisnan actually, listening to
Everton.
Because I say to parents these days too, and this is based on experience as well.
Right.
We have two different situations where substance abuse is concerned.
Okay.
We have those who can afford to support their habits, and those who can't afford to support their habits.
Right.
We have lots of people walking around daily in our society, holding well-paying jobs, looking respectable, who have drug habits, but they can afford to pay for the drugs. So they get credit, and when they work, they go and pay, and that cycle is continued. If those individuals lose their job tomorrow, they're as ordinary as any guy on the street who doesn't have the means to support that habit, because that support, that financial support for the habit is gone.
Right.
What bothers me a lot is that we have situations in this country where people see their children changing, their behavior changing, and from a very early age they're becoming more aggressive. They're sleeping later on mornings. They're not as active as they used to be, because a lot of drugs, normally the first impact is that they slow you down. Your whole physical development changes. You take that same child to the polyclinic for a regular, might be a fresh cold, might be a little ear infection, but nobody says to the doctor, look, I want you to check his urine to see if he's on substances. I have a problem. Nobody is clever enough to take the child to a doctor and say, well, listen, I'm bringing my son here, telling him it's for regular checkup, but I'm really checking to see if he's using substances.
Right.
So if parents understand intervention at that early stage, we can actually nip this thing in the bud, because
They actually test it. You can actually test the hair as well. You know.
Yes, it's correct.
Fast,
right? Because it is that. So I mean, if that is done really early, and from in the schools, teachers pick up behavior, and the network is really working, but the network doesn't work.
But do you guys think that part of the reason why so many of our young men are ending up on the wrong side of the law and the wrong side of society is because of a lack of meal?
No, it's because of a lack of intervention generally, because we have young people who grow up in stable family environments where they have parents and they have relatives and they have all the support mechanisms, all the support structures, and they still use substances. So I'm saying the real issue is people's character will change at some stage. You have to be alert to your children when they change. Teachers have to be alert to the behavior of their charges when they change, and look at ways and means of identifying what's happening. There have to be a change.
What do you think, Krisnan?
I think that drugs are mind-altering substances, and whether it is alcohol, which is legal, or any other mind-altering substance, people will do it to feel differently, to change their state. And what I do, I work with emotions and state as well, with coaching as well as hypnotherapy. And once there is a need for state change, or there's something that person is trying to escape from, or just the feeling that it feels good, when there's the opportunity to return to that, or there's a need for that, to feel that state, that change again, persons will know how to find it. And that's what drugs provide. They provide that state change, so whenever there's the need for it, whether the person has issues or whether it's Friday evening and just want to have some fun, they will resort to them. And the challenge is that friends or associates who people associate with, they aren't going to help them to change the habits or to get out of the habits. So most persons in today's society, I've worked in the hotel industry and the restaurant industry for some time, and functional persons, as a matter of fact, I found that the majority of young people I've worked around use drugs, use illicit drugs. So there's a need for a state change, and they're gravitating towards it. But also there's connection. Their friends are doing it, so they're doing it as well. And it's not going to change unless their friends are going to look negatively upon it and discourage them from doing it, basically.
Fair enough. Well, I want to ask this question so that we can get all this stuff in. Should the role of the man be redefined in society? Society has certainly changed. But should the role of the man redefined? Be redefined, sorry.
I don't think the role of the man need to be redefined. I think, and if we look at it as going back to the leadership that we were looking at earlier, good leaders recognize when their partner is stronger than them or more competent than them in certain areas.
Okay.
When your partner is more competent than you in an area, you allow your partner leeway to address that area, but in discussion. So if you practice a situation where you discuss things with your partner that you are stronger on, you still involve them. You still involve them. You just go and make decisions, and they do the same thing. But a leader has to make decisions. A leader doesn't only have to dictate or dominate. It's about making acceptable decisions and leading by example. So you can't expect that in your areas of strength you're going to be dominant, and in your areas of weakness to be dominant as well. Because if you practice dominance in your areas of strength, your partner is going to practice dominance in her areas of strength as well. So that's where you have a problem. Financially, if your female partner is a financial manager, or she's an investment personnel, or she understands financial investment or finance management better than you do, well,
and she doesn't even have to be qualified. If she's good at it, let her do it. It's her strength.
If you are a better cook than she is, I know for sure, because I've experienced it, females who acknowledge that their partner is a better cook normally step back and allow him to cook.
Are we having enough? Are we having enough dialogue between the sexes? Where I remember listening to a talk show host, and he said that you can find a huge amount of books on the emotions of women, how to treat women, and those type of things. There are magazines that are inundated with this, but very, very little information on what men think and how to treat them, etc. Are the sexes, the genders, dialoguing enough so that they can understand each other?
Sometimes it'll be a communication problem, for sure. Because if you're in a relationship or in a household where there's a strong male and a strong female, and you're not communicating, as Cassius said, well, I could cook better than you, or you're a better
or bait porn,
or you're a better finance, you better deal with finances, or you could deal with budgeting, or whatever the case might be. There's going to be a problem, because if you keep challenging something that you're not good at, you're going to fall. You understand? So you need to communicate and get everything over on the table. Well, this is what we can do. This is what I can do. You understand? Well, I can't get this done. You can help me with this. You understand?
Do you think that? I mean, the feminist movement has had a profound effect on the psyche of cultures. I think that has passed. I don't think that there's any culture that has not been touched really by some philosophy of the feminism. Okay? Now, do you think that this has caused the traditional role of men in society to be displaced? As breadwinner, as father, as are they forcing a redefinition?
It's possible. I'm not saying it's possible. What I find and what I think is that some men, and maybe even most men, spend too much time criticizing women for the way they are and criticizing the purpose to which the feminist movement was formed and what they do. I tend to learn a lot from women. And I have seen over the years a female with a problem, her network around her works for her.
Yes.
Works in a tangible way.
It is
and
true.
An example of it is that you may have 5 females who are friends, and one may have a domestic situation at home that she needs to get away from. 3 others may have the financial means, but they don't have the space because they may have a large household. Another one wouldn't have the financial means, but she has the space. And she would house the female because she has the space. And the others will support her financially.
It's true. Or they will get together and gel together.
And they'll make it work. Men, if you have a problem, a man will take you for a drink.
Try to
Let's go and get a drink and forget about this. And then drop you off home, knowing you're under the influence, back to the problem.
But so is this because men are not as in touch with their emotional side?
No, I would say yes to that.
Yes.
I would say yes.
Yes. A lot of men, and recently I encountered a situation about myself personally, and I recognized where I was heading, and I decided, nope, I have to stop it. Intervention time. I have to do something about it. A lot of men need to come face to face with themselves. You know yourself. You know who you are. You know the person you want to be. You know the person you desire to be. The moment you are not achieving for yourself what you know you desire to achieve, it is time to have intervention.
Has this emotional detachment, right, to whatever level we see it amongst men, has this been the product of socializing men into be the strong, silent leadership type?
Well, the less emotion men show, the stronger they look, because the whole ego comes in. Yeah, I'm macho, you know, because much men don't like to let people see them crying. But me, I feel free to cry anywhere. I'm only human. You understand? So if you let your emotions and your feelings get the better of you, you will find something.
But is that respected? I mean, you call sissy, call little girl, called all kinds of things. You're called a number of derogatory terms.
Real men
so
cry.
You're real men cry.
Real men cry.
And real men are
That's
disrespected when they cry.
Well, don't care how.
Does your woman want to see? Do you want to go out and you're having a conversation with your female friend who you want to spend the rest of your life with, and 90% of that conversation you're talking about your issue, she's listening, and then you're breaking down, you're weeping, you're crying? Does society recognize that as being a man?
Well, they might see you as a weak person, but within yourself, you know you have an inner strength.
But you're not being married to yourself.
Well, it's not being married to yourself. It's knowing yourself.
Do women want men to cry?
No.
Krisnan, do women? Maybe you need to get back into our psyche. Do women want men to cry?
I think women want men who understand them and who can regulate themselves. Women want that. Women want a man who is going to be firm, who understands them, and who can regulate himself. And if a man can cry, but he can regulate himself, and he can behave in the appropriate way and take responsibility when the situation requires it, then women don't have a problem with that. The problem is that men usually, the stereotypical type of man that would cry is the stereotypical kind of man that would be soft and would let people take advantage of him. Stereotypically. Doesn't mean that strong men can't cry or don't cry. Socialization plays a great deal in it. And what we're taught by the media and in our environments, whether it's on the blog or in our family or wherever we grew up with, then that will shape the belief of the persons. It will shape the belief. A person still has the choice whether they're going to go by the status quo or create their own reality.
See, this is part of why I was asking the question. Should the role of a man be redefined? Because we, coming up, the men that we admired, the men that were the stalwarts in the community, the role models in the community, whether they were good or not, they were role models, right? Were very stoic, were very quiet, gentle giants. A lot of women would have admired that. He don't talk much. He don't know we thinking or whatever. That was Daddy. Daddy was the person that would come in and say 2 or 3 words, and that was the end of that. Okay, that is how we saw men. That's how men were projected. That is a strong man. A strong man don't talk much. They don't gossip. They don't get involved in that. They go and play dominoes and then they go home. They're malicious. Exactly.
They have no time for it.
Correct. Right.
Yes.
However, that has brought a level of detachment from emotions.
Yeah.
That is now resulting in a lot of men being angry. So I'm asking, in light of all of this, should the role of men be redefined?
I think it does not need to be redefined. As a matter of fact, it's very set, it's very certain. The problem is that we ignore certain signs. What I'll say is this: the typical man has the image that you described just now. But the great man, persons who are great in their fields of endeavor, we're not talking good, we're talking great. Sportsmen or artists, whatever the case is, they're very passionate. And passionate men express their emotions.
They're passionate about the sport, Krisnan. They're not passionate. These are the same men that will come home and beat their wives to death or have multiple I'm not sure if sportsmen are a very good example. These are men that end up having multiple relationships and the whole 9 yards of it.
But here's what. If you're great at something, the quality is, because one of the things I do is neuro-linguistic programming, and what that is involved, that's about modeling. How do we model greatness? How do we model people who are good at things or who change? Great people in their endeavor can regulate their emotions, but they're passionate. And if we can take those qualities from that one aspect of their life and transfer it to other aspects of their life or among the society, then we see changes in people who can regulate themselves. We see changes in persons who know how to listen or who can play as a team. Some people, well, in their endeavor, they are great and they roll alone, right? But if we look at great people in society or persons who've made it very far and who've made a great impact on humanity, we see that those are persons who can regulate. And I think the challenge here is people's ability to regulate, to change and to operate or behave as is appropriate in the situation. And men are understood to be faster, they're understood to be stronger. Or is it understood that a man can change his emotions, regulate his emotions, that a man can listen? What's wrong with men listening? Yes, ego gets in the way, and that's probably one of the issues with listening.
Well, we're gonna come back to that because we have to take a break. But we'll come back to that, and then I want to address when we come back, because you're saying a whole lot.
Yeah.
Right? I want to really address, can a woman raise a man? Right? I really want to get to that. Can a woman raise a man? There's some people say women can't raise men. Okay, so can a woman raise a man? So we will be right back with our guest to ask the question, can a woman raise a man? See you in a couple of seconds.
I want to say that the Rosehill show is the bomb. I mean, I've enjoyed myself being on the show. It's real life, real talk. I felt like to be myself on this show. I want to encourage all of you to subscribe to this page and ensure that you watch the Rosehill show, because you will learn a lot of things that you never thought of. Hi, my name is Roger Husband.
P. Austin, the United Progressive Party's St. James South candidate. It was indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be a part of the Rosehill Talks Politics show. I believe that as more and more of our local influencers, practitioners in politics and other sections of society participate in the show, that it will grow from strength to strength. I want to endorse the show and encourage other persons to tune in and share the links. I'm Crystal P.
This is Apostle Leroy Scanterbury, and I want to say what a pleasure it was to be here on the Rosehill show with my good friend Apostle David Coulthrust and the Rosehill team. And I want you to know to call that number that's on the screen and let them know you're interested in being on the Rosehill show. It's the place to be if you want to reach your target audience and if you want to take your life, your business to the next level.
Well, we are right back talking to Everton Brathwaithe, Krisnan and Cassius Taitt about men, their role in society, their role in the family. Should they be redefined? We were just talking about that. Cassius had an interesting, was having an interesting conversation with me, while we were on break, and I think that we need to really in a couple of seconds or so, because I really want to raise the issue: can a woman raise a man? You were talking about why is it that whenever there is the issue of people talking about men getting a connection with their emotions, why is it that we talk about crying? Why do you think that is?
Because generally people see a big part of the emotions is being able to cry. And my take on it is that some people cry and they get rid of their load by crying. Other people have other ways of dealing with their load and is emotional as well. but we focus too much on tears. A lot of people, we heard about crocodile tears. A lot of people cry and they get off nothing because they use cry as a wall to protect themselves, to shield themselves. So I don't believe in the tears aspect of it.
Well, it really is one of the natural ways that you release pain.
It's one of them, but there's several other natural ways as well.
Okay.
Right? And what I find is that where the relationship is concerned between genders, I have found that some females expect a man to be strong for them, but weak towards them. So they expect you to be strong as a means of support when they need support, emotional support, structural support. But when they want to express their emotions now and pull left, right, and center, they expect you to be weak and to be pulled as well. So I don't think we need to be able to redefine the role of men. I think men need to understand themselves within the whole relationship.
Well, let's bring up this question. Can a woman raise a man? And I'm not talking about can a woman raise a male. Can a woman raise a man?
I could speak on that because
yes, please.
I've been raised by my grandmother. Thank her for her good, traits. I've learned a lot from her.
Right.
And I've learned how to really stand up as a man in a family. Because my father died when I was 10. Rest his soul in his grave. And she showed me in life, men have roles they have to take up. And they have to stand their ground. Or people will run over you. People will see you as a weaker person.
What do you think, Krisnan? Can a woman raise a man? Not a male, a man.
I think that she can run the home, but it takes a man to teach a man how to be a man. A woman will know how to instruct a man how a man operates, but a man must see it from another man, a good example of another man. Because there has to be a model, there has to be a standard. And if there is no model, then he only sees how a woman operates in this environment. So what I've seen is, I've had friends, I've had clients who've sent or told me about situations where they said, I'd like my son I'd like you to speak to my son, or I'd like to send my son to someone to help to direct him, to guide him. Because women usually know they can't be everything to a man that the man needs to, in order for him to develop. He has to be around other men and good examples to be an effective male leader.
So if you don't have enough
positive male influences.
Positive male influences in a man's life, you think that will affect the way he's raised?
Yeah, because you will understand based on what you see around you, right? You can't repeat something that you've not seen. You can learn ways of doing it, but people have to be exposed. This is where socialization comes in. Have to be exposed to good examples so that we can be effective in some areas.
Talk to me, Cassius.
I think women would raise a young man in the image that they have of a man. Whatever a woman's expectations of a man is, or she expects a man to be like within her mirror image, that is the way she'll raise her son. Like Tristan said, unless a youngster at some stage of his life, and even up to the adolescent stage, is exposed to positive role models, no, not successfully.
Our educational system is predominantly female. With the teachers, sir, predominantly female.
Yes.
Is that disadvantaging our boys?
Maybe that's why we want men to cry so much.
maybe he's
we're gonna get you security when you go to this building.
Because you see, I have to shake Tristan's hand on that, because I went to a boys' school. My first experience in secondary school was co-educational. I encountered female teachers in great numbers for the first time in secondary school. And what those female teachers expected of me as a boy, I never had to deal with that in primary school. The environment then, they were more, and us boys, during our discussions back then, this is as 12 and 13-year-olds, we thought that these females were leaning more towards a comfort zone. They wanted to make the girls comfortable in the setting. The males then just dealt with this as men and said, well, look, this is the way a man is supposed to be. And they dealt with that. But in the classroom then, females wanted boys to sit a particular way. Or not to come in the classroom perspiring, or go and wash up. You never had to deal with that.
Is that stereotype that is projected upon the men by other men relevant for today?
It is very much relevant. As a matter of fact, this is a controversial situation. But if we look at schools like St. Cyprian's Boys School, Spray Memorial is an all-girls school still. St. Leonard's Boys is an all-boys school as well. And you can say that Spray Memorial at St. Leonard's Boys at the secondary level would be where people who have not done excellently well at the common entrance level goes. But look at the result, look at their production level. All boys and all girls environment. Look at their production level.
Is that really preparing? Isn't co-ed a better environment to prepare individuals, be it boy or girl, for life? Because they're not going to interact with them with their own gender. I mean, that is dispelled from the time they walk through the door.
Many years ago, well, in our time of growing up, boys and girls interacted socially at home, in the community. They did it in social clubs, in dance groups. There was never an issue with male and female interacting socially, but when male and female interacted at the education level, it was at higher educational learning, where people had already established themselves as individuals. But now you have to battle with that, establishing yourself while you get your educational grounding. And I think that has created a problem for some people, not for everyone, but for some people it has created a problem. We need to face it. Look at it years ago. Tertiary level, we had males and females interacting at education level. But these were people that were more assured of themselves. They had passed the secondary level education, established their identity, and they knew who they were. Now we have boys and girls in primary school and secondary school dealing with the sexes basically, and who they are sexually, and who they are as individuals, and educationally as well. So the workload for kids at that age is being added.
So, again, we're saying that a woman can't raise a man to be a man.
Not successfully.
Not successfully. He needs to have
male influence.
Role models.
Male influence.
And these, how do we get more positive male influences inside the communities around us?
I think we need to return to, and recently I had a discussion with a particular politician recently, and I said to him, look, we need to get the constituency councils working where we get stuff being done for kids at the community level, from lessons back to sports clubs, youth programs going. And even if we have to engage the services of trained personnel or retired personnel from within the community, and you can't afford to pay them financially, if they own their own home, you can actually give them a tax rebate. You can zero rate the land tax. There are things you can do to compensate them. But we need to get people within the community making contact again with the young persons.
I want to zero in on something before we close. There are many issues that are facing men psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And you're dealing with men, and even in dealing with yourself if you want to get that personal. What do you think are some of the main issues that are facing men psychologically, emotionally, and physically? And how can we begin to deal with these issues?
Psychologically and emotionally, men need to more speak to each other. More need to be there for one another. Like how Cassius was saying, when a female has a problem, they gel together within a band of females and they deal with their problems. Men tend to isolate and try to hide from their problems.
Do you find that men get more aggressive?
Yeah. Men are naturally aggressive, but then when you are faced with a challenge, in order to put up a facade, not to deal with it, you go like all isolate and get aggressive. That way you push everyone away from you. You understand? People are more like skeptical to come to you to see like what's your problem. They can see it on your face.
So you think men you're saying men need to talk to each other more?
Yeah, you need to.
Put down the gun, put down the weapons, just talk to each other more.
Look at it, statistics in society. The crime rate, most men.
Yeah, they're more. They're I have a 2015 statistic here, and there are a lot more men in jail.
It's true.
Than women.
It's a fact, because in prison, when you're going in the front desk and you look at the chart, males.
I want to ask you a bit about that. I mean, you don't be done. I'm going to ask our producers to probably give us about 5 more minutes, but I want to ask you about that. You know, you've been in prison 7 times. What was your experience there amongst the men? What did you see?
In prison, the same thing I was now speaking about. Men need to speak to each other a bit more. And in prison, it happens. Men tend to get together, put one another on positive meditations, and put one another forward in order not to repeat the cycle to go back to jail. Because a man that's serving 15 years, for instance, Peter Bradshaw, he was serving a sentence of a life. You understand? In prison, these are things he did. He would hold groups in prison with youngsters, would speak to them about things, try to educate them, to see the real picture of what a man should do to keep himself contained. When he has emotional distortion or mental, trouble, anything like that. Because at the end of the day, in prison, all you have on your hand is time. And you use that time wisely to educate yourself on how to further be a firmer person. Because my days in jail, I've learned baking, I've done a bit of, drug rehab in jail. Right now, one of the things I know within myself that I have a passion to do is to either be a motivational speaker or a drug counselor. Because I want to help people the same way how I am being helped at the moment. Because drugs are one of the things that are destroying our male society. And within prison, most of the people that are in jail is due to drugs. And like when they get there, they really realize when they're free of all those substances, well, that's what they use to really shut down all the emotional stress, Because if a man has a problem, he's gonna get a drink, But when he's done, the drink down out of your head, the alcohol leave your system, the problem there and a bigger one.
Was prison life really hard for you?
Well, I would say that's one place I wouldn't even wish for my worst enemy. I've been there repeatedly 7 times because I had a feeling that I ain't done yet. I don't want to go back and get that, fit back in. But no, in 2018 here, I actually woke up and smelled the coffee. You understand? Really look at life from a different point of view. Because if I keep wasting my life away like that, I went in front of Coffee Sergeant, and Coffee Sergeant looked at my hand and said, "Scourge, for your age, you've been to jail a number of times." That struck me in my head. You understand? From 23 to 28, 13 convictions, 7 prison terms. That's not the way that we want our youngsters to come up. And that's why, as Cassius was saying, we need a more community-based level where we can get together and get all of our youths, teach them from young how to really stay together. If you're having difficulties in life as a male, you need to speak about them with someone. You could go home, speak with dad, speak with grandpa, speak with mom, speak with your sister, speak with your aunt, speak with somebody. Because if you keep it all in, eventually you're going to self-destruct somewhere inside. And it's going to be bad.
Guys, believe it or not, we've been here for almost an hour and a half. And I would love to talk to you guys again because we have not even begun to explore everything that we would like to talk about men and the issues that they're going through, and what they're facing and the problems. So I want you to commit to come back. Let's talk about these things, right? Let's be able to ventilate and get some men to join us and let's have a men's forum so that we can talk, and learn how to talk to the women and let the women learn how to talk to us and just make sure that the family, because at the end of the day, it's the family unit that has to go forward, and we can bounce ideas off of each other as to how we need to be better at what we do, which is being a man. Guys, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you for coming. I wish you all the best. in your practice. I hope that it picks up because you have a lot to offer. Cassius, I am praying that more people when the construction industry picks up, that you have your hands full of the full, and you can really enjoy, Brathwaithe can enjoy the benefits of your training.
I have learned not to fill my hands in construction.
Not to fill.
You take enough.
You take enough.
Yes, that you can manage.
But don't fill.
No.
Make sure
not in
the fist stay
construction.
closed.
Yes. It's time to close it, you close it.
Everton, I left you to last because you're a young man, I believe, that has a lot to say, and and I believe that you have a great destiny ahead of you. You have a lot to do, right? For a person to have gone through what you have gone through, survived it, and is willing to talk about it, I think it is a testament to greatness. There's a reason why I put you between these two men, because they're examples that you can follow.
It's true.
Right? They're examples that you can follow, and if you connect with them, I don't know if you know them, but if you can connect with them, I believe that the mentorship that is required. When I was thinking about my season plan, I said, let me put this young man between the two of these men, so that they can connect with him and get you on the right trajectory. So I wish you all the best of success in your life, and may God bless you. Well, that brings us to the end of another show, Rosehill Talks Politics. Next week, we're going to be talking to the ladies and seeing what are the issues with the ladies. So join us then. And as I said, get your questions on if you so desire. And tune in, just share the video, share the video, share the video, share the video. What's coming up? After that, we're going to be getting back into some more hardcore politics and talking a bit more about what is going on in society. Inflation, the governor of the central bank report. We're going to be talking about those things. We're going to be talking a bit more about the election process, trying to get some. We're going to be just going full steam ahead in relation to preparing for elections and honoring our name. Just want to take a break and talk to the men and the women and see what they're thinking. Is sometimes good to breathe. Elections are, it's heavy stuff, right? Okay, God bless you. What's coming up next? I want you to, all the ladies out there, just tune into my Facebook page and my live videos that are there. I've been doing a few on the role of women, talking about the role of women. We're going to talk more about that next week. But I also want you to be praying for the nation. It's very, very important you pray for the nation of Barbados. Arise and pray for the nation of Barbados in this season. It is an important opportunity has arisen in Barbados called the election time, where you can determine the destiny of a nation. And I want you to arise and pray that God's will be done in this season. On March the 3rd, in the city, I'll announce that date. We will be meeting 7 p.m. asking all the ladies to just come out and pray in the city. I'll announce that location. God bless you. Keep that date in mind. God bless you. God bless you. From all of the Rosehill crew, we wish you a wonderful night.